reclaimed 5 million square meters of land from the sea. They have built the beginnings of this amazing wall. This is an ingenious engineering feat. This is something I'm telling you, there will be countless numbers of people coming here to study.
This is Eko Atlantic, a 10-square-kilometer urban development constructed on reclaimed land. A project that was marketed as African version of Dubai, a vision that promised to house over 250,000 people and transform West African economic landscape. In this video, we are going to explore everything about the Eko Atlantic. We are going to start with why it was created in the first place, looking at the coastal erosion crisis that threatened to swallow Victoria Island into the same. We also examine how it was built, the massive engineering fleet that moved millions of tons of sand and constructed an 8.5-kilometer sand wall designed to last for thousands of years. So this is going to be a full story on Eko Atlantic, from the problem it was meant to solve to the powerful people who have made it happen and what actually stand there today. To understand Eko Atlantic, you need to understand Lagos itself, which is the Africa's largest city, home to more than 20 million people spread across different series of island and mainland territory. An economic powerhouse that is generating a significant portion of Nigeria's GDP. And all of those things you already know from headline and stuff. But something you probably don't know is that Lagos has been slowly disappearing into the ocean for centuries.
A settlement close to the Nigerian city of Lagos. The coastline didn't always look like this. In the past 100 years, the sea has eroded several hundred meters of land. And due to rising sea levels, the process is gaining pace. Experts estimate that every year 20 to 30 meters of land are lost to the ocean.
This erosion goes all the way down the coast. It's just exacerbated here because of the nearness of the last groin that was made at Okoafo. But it goes all the way down the coast, and the coast needs to be protected.
The city coastline has been erupting, and the cause is both natural and, most importantly, human interference with natural processes. In 1908, construction began on the Lagos Harbour. Two massive structures called moat were built to extend into the ocean to create a protective harbour entry in Lagos. This disrupts the natural flow of sand across the coast. By the 1960s, authorities were already trying to fight the erosion with beach nourishment, pumping sand into bar beach to replace what the ocean takes. But it doesn't work. Despite enormous amount of materials dumped into the beach, the erosion still continues relentlessly. So without intervention, Victoria Island might eventually disappear, taking billions in property values and critical infrastructure with it. So this crisis creates an opportunity, and there are people who are ready to seize the opportunity. The solution to Lagos erosion problem would come from an unlikely source. Two brothers who are born in Nigeria to Lebanese immigrant parents. These brothers started their businesses in construction, but their company grew into a conglomerate: flour mill, water bottling, glass manufacturing, hotel, telecommunication, real estate, you can name it. So in 2005, Governor Ahmed Bola Tinubu, which is the governor of Lagos State at that time, wrote a letter to President Olusegun Obasanjo. The subject of the letter was a permanent solution to the Bar Beach erosion problem. But Tinubu wasn't proposing a government project. He was asking for approval for a private investor to take over the challenge, and that investor was the Chagoury Group. The proposal in itself was audacious: to build a massive seawall to protect Victoria Island, then reclaim the land that was once lost over the centuries of erosion, and on that reclaimed land, build an entirely new city. The city will be privately funded, privately developed, and privately managed. The Lagos State government won't have to pay a naira for it. Instead, it will grant the company a concession to develop the land for 78 years. President Obasanjo approved the project with condition. It has to be strictly supervised, it doesn't extend the scope of the approved, and it has to follow all environmental regulation. So in June 2026, the Lagos State government and the South Energy Nigeria Limited signed a formal concession agreement. The Eko Atlantic City development project was officially underway. The promise was breathtaking: 10 million square meters of land to be reclaimed from the ocean, protected by an 8.5-kilometer sand wall. The infrastructure will be built to international standards, space for over 250,000 residents and 150,000 communion.
I am part of an administration that ran for 8 years, that planned this project. So I was persuaded not only by its merits, but also its benefits. And seamlessly, I have taken it on as my own baby to deliver it.
Now, the centerpiece to the Eko Atlantic wasn't the building, but it was the wall, officially called a sea rebatement, but everyone knows it as the Great Wall of Lagos. It is an 8.5-kilometer barrier that would need to withstand the force of the Atlantic Ocean, not just for today's condition, but even for the worst storm projected over the next 1,000 years. And the people who are in charge of this were the Dutch marine engineering firm with over a century of experience. They designed the wall. The core was made with rocks, massive stone that was placed to create a stable foundation. In February 2028, the physical construction began. By mid-2029, the first rock of the Great Wall was placed. Specialized vehicles brought the massive stone to the site. Excavators positioned themselves precisely. The wall began to take shape. The goal was to reclaim 10 million square meters of land, which meant moving 95 million cubic meters of sand. By 2011, millions of square meters has been reclaimed. Then infrastructure work began. Road, drainage system, power line, fiber optic cable, everything a modern city would need, built from scratch. By February 2013, the project has reached a major milestone. 5 million cubic meters of sand has been reclaimed. Half of the planned area now exists, so it was time to show the world what they have accomplished, and they brought a very special guest to do that. In February 21, 2013, a dedicated ceremony was held on the reclaimed land of Eko Atlantic. Among the attendees was President Goodluck Jonathan, Governor Babatunde Fashola, former Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, business leaders, investors, and standing among them was the former United States President Bill Clinton.
So for every person who believed in this project, for every person who believed in the future of the city, of the state, of the nation, I thank you. And especially I thank my friends Gilbert and Ronald Chagoury for making it happen and keeping their commitment. It is a commitment that will eventually not only help to brand Nigeria as a country of the 21st century, but by having people come here from all over the world, it will help people understand that there are affordable, even profitable ways to live in harmony with a new natural reality and make it work for ordinary people.
In August 19, 2012, the Atlantic Ocean surged beyond its normal boundaries in Lagos. Water flooded many places like the Afar Beach, Mayegun, and many other nearby communities. 16 people were swept away into the ocean, while several died, including a 6-year-old girl. 6 bodies was recovered and others were never found. The immediate cause was a storm surge, a natural phenomenon where ocean water is pushed toward the shore by weather patterns. Storm surge happens regularly along coastal road, but what happens in October 2012 was unusually severe, and residents knew exactly who to blame. Communities along the coast have been watching the Eko Atlantic construction with growing alarm. Residents report that the ocean surge has been increasing in frequency and intensity since the drainage began. Waters that used to stop at the beach was now pushing into their home. Roads were flooded, electricity poles were being topped.
Most unusual time. In the past, we've been having it between, say, from June, July, okay, during rainy season. But coming up this kind of period is quite alarming.
David Frame, the managing director for the South Energy Nigeria Limited, pushed back against this criticism. He argued that without Eko Atlantic, Victoria Island would have disappeared into the ocean by now. The erosion has been happening for over a century before their project began. Developers also maintained that the August 2012 ocean surge was a natural event, not caused by their construction activities. They pointed to the fact that the coastal erosion has already been affecting those communities before Eko Atlantic began. The fundamental problem was Eko Atlantic was protecting itself and Victoria Island, but it might be doing so at the expense of poorer communities to the east, communities without political connections, communities without resources to build their own seawall. After the grand ceremony in 2013, construction on Eko Atlantic continues. In March 2014, David Frame announced the first residential tower would open in 2016. 2016 came and went. Some buildings were completed, others remained under construction for years longer than what they projected. The first major completion was the Eko Pier Towers, the 5 resident towers, each named for a different colored pier. The towers were genuinely impressive, high-end furnished, health clubs, meeting rooms, ocean views, and so on. By November 2020, only a few buildings has been completed. The city has become a venue for events like Afrobeat concerts. The Lagos State Marathon has a route through the Eko Atlantic, and various other activities and events. This event brought people to the new city, creating an impression of activities and vibrancy. The Eko Atlantic secured a certification from the International Finance Corporation, recognition for environmentally sustainable building design. The developer pointed to this as proof of their commitment to modern standards, but actual residency and commercial occupation remain well below the original projections. The original projection was for 250,000 residents and 150,000 daily convenience once fully built, but current population and business presence are far below those numbers. And the reasons are straightforward. Eko Atlantic targets the ultra-luxurious market, apartments selling for hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, in a country where the mass majority of people live on much more moderate income. The developers argue that there will be entry points at different price range, small office spaces, rental spaces, more affordable apartments. But the reality is that Eko Atlantic is priced for the rich. There is also competition. Ikoyi and Banana Island, established luxurious areas in Lagos, already serve the high-end market. Why move to Eko Atlantic when you can live in a neighborhood with established communities and proven track record? Some developers have tried to make units more accessible. Payment plans spread across 24 to 36 months. But even with financing, the prices remain out of reach for ordinary Lagosians.
The Le Rêve, which means to dream, is a 16-story tower located in the Harbour Lights region of the Eko Atlantic City. It's made up of 52 mezzanine apartments, and we have a swimming pool, a gym, a private lounge, kids play area, and adequate parking for residents and as well as guests. You can key into the Le Rêve with the initial deposit of 30%. Build period is 2.5 years, so by 2025 we'll be done with the project. And and we can spread this payment until that point. We're working towards a mortgage plan, which we will share as well on our website.
In March 2022, another major ceremony took place at Eko Atlantic. The US government acquired approximately 50,000 square meters of land in Eko Atlantic. This was land deemed suitable for a major diplomatic facility, a $537 million project, the largest US consulate in the world once completed, sitting on a 12.2-acre site in Eko Atlantic. The construction will employ about 250,000 Nigerian workers, engineers, architects, artisans, construction workers, administrative staff, and an estimate of $95 million will be invested in local economy through that project. The new consulate would provide modern facilities for the largest consulate operation in Africa, improve interviews and waiting area for US applicants, a safe, secure, sustainable workplace for Americans and Nigerian consulate employees. For Eko Atlantic, this is transformational, not just another luxurious apartment tower or office building, but a major government facility from one of the world's most powerful nations. A vote of confidence that the city is real, permanent, and significant. So, what actually stands at Eko Atlantic in this early 2026? Approximately 8 million square meters of reclaimed land, about 80% of the planned total, a seawall extending roughly 6.8 kilometers, protecting both the new city and Victoria Island behind it. A network of paved roads, including an 8-lane Eko Bolivia, 14 bridges, complete underground drainage system in developed phases, independent utility, water treatment, storage system, fiber optic cables throughout, power generation supplementing the connection to Nigeria's national grid. A growing collection of residential tower, the construction site for the US Consulate General, the largest of such facility in the world, scheduled to be completed in 2027. Infrastructures for 10 districts, planned across the full 10 million square meters. The Great Wall of Lagos has protected Victoria Island from further erosion. That was one of the original goals, and that has been accomplished. Properties that would have fallen into the ocean has been saved. Buildings have been constructed to modern standards. The EDGE certification confirms environmental efficiency. The US government decision to build the world's largest consulate there confirms a level of legitimacy and permanency. But if measured against its own ambitious promises, Eko Atlantic falls short. It was supposed to house 250,000 people. It doesn't. It was supposed to become West African financial hub. It hasn't. It was supposed to carry massive employment opportunity to Lagosians. Most of the job went to construction workers, and most of the permanent positions serve a small, wealthy population. If there is a lesson from Eko Atlantic, it is this: building a city is easier than filling it with life. You can reclaim land from the ocean. You can construct walls and towers and roads. You can create all physical infrastructure, but you can't engineer a community. You can't mandate economic activities. You can't simply will a place into becoming what you want it to become. Cities succeed when they meet real need of real people, when they offer opportunities, connections, and quality of life that attract residents and businesses organically, when they integrate into existing urban fabrics rather than stand apart from them. Eko Atlantic future remains uncertain. It could gradually fail as Nigerian economy grows and more people enter the upper middle or higher classes. The US consulate could attract other international presence. The vision could eventually be realized, just on a longer timeline than the original plan. Or it could remain what it appears to be now, a partially realized experiment in private urban development. Impressive in part, but never quite achieving critical mass. A symbol of ambition that exceeded market reality. Either way, it will remain a landmark, both literally as a massive new geographical feature on Lagos coastline, or figuratively as a case study in a possibility and limitation of private sector-led urban transformation in Africa. The ocean will keep testing the Great Wall. Time will test whether Eko Atlantic become the thriving city its creators envision, or a monument to the gap between vision and reality.